Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today is triple spray day in the vineyard. I'm going to use this bad boy right here to spray some fungicides. It's going to be a mixture of manzate, which is mancozeb, and eagle, which is myclobutanol. That's going to be sprayed on the vines. I'm also going to mix up 2 tanks of glyphosate. This is 4 gallons. That's going to be sprayed on the weeds in the rows. And finally, I have a new spray tank here. I'm going to mix up some 7 in this tank, and in the future I'll just be using this tank for 7 and for deer repellent. So I wrote the no kill on there just so I don't mix up glyphosate or 2,4-D or something in there. To get this put together. But the first thing we're going to do is mix up the glyphosate. If you've seen any of my spray videos before, you'll know that you always put a bit of water in your container first before you add anything else. That way the stuff doesn't stick to the bottom of your spray container. I like to put about 1/3 to 1/2 of the tank full of water. That'll do it. Then, in this case, you can add your ingredients. I'll list all of these chemicals in the description below, but this is the surfactant, and we want 2 tablespoons of that because we have 2 gallons. And then this, I also do by eye, but you want about 2 tablespoons of this as well. I'll show you what it is in just a second, but I'm sure you can see it. This is laser blue spray pattern indicator, and it just shows you where you've sprayed. Now I'm going to add the glyphosate, which is 8 ounces for 2 gallons. For 1 gallon it's 8 tablespoons. I get this in a 2.5 gallon container because we have a lot of property that needs the weeds controlled on it. Otherwise, this place would be a total mess in no time. Okay, 8 ounces. Rinse out my measuring cup and pour it into my spray container. Triple rinse. Then rinse anything off from the rim. And shake them up before we fill it all the way. Now, and fill these up to the 2 gallon mark. It's going to make a little bit of suds, so I'm going to have to wait for that to go down before I can fill it the rest of the way. The 2 gallon mark is right up by this line right here. I generally only use these Chapin sprayers. I'll put a link to these in the description. I've been doing this for many years, and the other ones fail really quick. And these will give you, oh, maybe 2 years before they fail. Okay. I just don't like when a whole bunch of stuff squeezes out of the top. But just wash that off anyways. Now, these need to be shaken again, and I like to put a couple pumps of air into them first so that they don't leak at the top. Alright. And I'm going to need to bring all of this stuff down to the vineyard with me because it may take more than 2 tanks. Probably not, but it may. Alright. Set these back here. And I should note that when I spray in the vineyard, or basically anytime I spray glyphosate, I use this extension. That way I'm spraying right next to the ground and there's no chance of drift. You don't want this stuff drifting onto stuff that you don't want to kill. Alright, now for the fungicide. Alright, this is a Chapin Pro Series backpack sprayer, and this is a diaphragm sprayer, which allows me to spray wettable powders. The Mancozeb, Captain, and a lot of the other fungicides that you'll spray in vineyards come as a wettable powder. Let me show you what that looks like. And these wettable powders are abrasive and will destroy the pump on normal sprayers, so you need a diaphragm sprayer. And basically this is mixed up the same way as the glyphosate. Put some water in the tank first and then mix it up, and then put the cap on and mix it some more. We might get a little bit of overspray here, so we'll close this up. I clean these tanks pretty well after each use, but every once in a while I'll use a tank cleaner to get them real nice and clean, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, so the mixture for this 4 gallons is a half a cup of this Mancozeb, which is Manzate Pro Stick, but you can mix it a bit weaker than that, but that's not what I'm going to do. We had disease in the vineyard the other day, and I cleared that out. That's in the last video, so if you want to see that, make sure you go back and look at that video. I'll link it in the description below. I need a tablespoon for this. We need 1 tablespoon of Eagle 20 EW. This Eagle is myclobutanol, which is a systemic fungicide, which means it's going to stay in the vine, or it's going to travel into the vine itself and distribute itself throughout the vine, and it should stay active for about 10 days. 1 tablespoon for 4 gallons. And I rinse the tablespoon into the sprayer tank. Nice and clean. Alright, and I don't add any dye or surfactant to this. Just mix it up. This, when you're in the vineyard, this needs to be shaken while you're spraying as well. And you basically just got to do a little bit of a dance as you're spraying to shake this stuff up. Alright, now we're going to fill this to the 4-gallon mark, which is right here. Kind of hard to see it, and you want to be on level ground. And that's it right there. Put the strainer back in. The strainer has the gasket on it, and if you don't have the gasket on it, if you bend over, it's going to spill all over your back, and that's not real pleasant. Don't ask me how I know that. Yeah, this has a gap on both sides in the thread, so it can be a bit difficult to get this on correctly, but if you don't get it on correctly, you'll cross thread it and eventually you'll destroy the threads on there. So gotta try to get it on right. And when it's nice and tight, this slot on the top will be parallel with the body of the unit. That way your wand can go into here like this if you want to do that. I'm not going to clean any of the tanks today, but I thought I'd show you what I use. This is called Neutralize, and you use a tablespoon of this for this size tank, and you basically do what I just did now. You fill it about halfway full of water, put a tablespoon of this in there, shake it up, and it cleans it and neutralizes whatever was in there before. Okay, now we'll get this one set up, and unfortunately I don't have an extension for this, but I actually don't think I'm going to need it because this is mostly going to be used for spraying insecticide and not spraying the ground. I'm sure you can hear that airplane. I think we're right over the flight plan for the Experimental Aircraft Association fly-in. There's been a lot of planes the last few days. Got a little filter on the end there. Put that rubber grommet in the hole and just tighten it up. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. At the end, I'm going to show you some alternatives to the ingredients I'm showing you here for people who just have a couple vines in their backyard. You don't need a big bag of mancozeb like this if you're just doing this in your backyard. And the same thing with the Eagle. This is pretty expensive, and you can get the same thing in a smaller version for home use. Alright. And like I said, we're going to mix up the 7 in this. And I'm going to make sure my measuring cup is real nice and clean because this had glyphosate in it before, and it's now going to have insecticide in it, and I don't want any of that on the vine. Even though this was cleaned before, it's better safe than sorry. Mix up the 7 a little bit, and I need 6 ounces of this. 6 ounces is 3/4 of a cup, which is right there. And we add that to our 2-gallon container. I'm going to rinse this into there, and then we will be ready to go. as usual, do a triple rinse. All right. Now we'll shake this up and add the water. Camera keeps cutting off because it's sitting in the sun. All right. And again, like the other ones, I'll fill it up to the 2-gallon mark and we're off to the races. Okay, our 3 sprays again are mancozeb and myclobutanil, which is Eagle, but you can get that under a bunch of different brand names. And then we have glyphosate, that's just generic glyphosate mixed with a dye and a surfactant. And then we have just straight 7 in this sprayer right here. We're going to head down there and spray the mancozeb first. Okay, we're down in the vineyard, and one thing I do is fix these straps. They always seem to want to ride up, and they should be at the bottom here. Kind of hard to do it with one hand. There we go. Oh. Luckily I had that cap on correctly. Yeah, this is really hard to do with one hand. Alright, there we go. Okay, got the straps correct. I put this on the edge of the tailgate of the gator so that I can just put the straps over my shoulders and walk away with it. If you got to do it on the ground, it's going to be pretty difficult. So we'll get this on and we'll get to spraying. Get my sunglasses / safety glasses on. And we are off to the races. Like that. And then grab the wand and shake it up, and here we go.